Hello guys, I'm Jasmeet and welcome to Blogging Unplugged. In this video, we have discussed what's new in Kadence Blocks 3.0. This update is for the free version of the Kadence Blocks plugin and is basically focused on improving the overall user experience so that it becomes easier for users to or beginners, let's just say, to use the more advanced settings. Now, as far as the features are concerned, we have discussed pretty much everything from changes to the block settings to row layouts, sections, addition of new features such as variables, block defaults, copy and paste styles. So pretty much everything we have covered in this video. Now, just like every video, timestamps to every topic covered are in the description box below, along with the links to our socials. Also, if you want to buy any of the Kadence products, be it theme or the blocks plugin or any of the bundles, then you will find a link to that in the description box below as well. Now, in case you have any queries related to any of the features that we have discussed in this video, then feel free to comment down below. Also, if you find the video helpful, then make sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the post notification bell. And with that said, let me start sharing the screen. Hello guys and welcome to the screen capture of this video. As you can see, we have two tabs open in the browser. The first one is for the Kadence Blocks 3.0, which is this one, and the second one is for the Kadence Blocks 2.0, which is this one. Now we will be using these for the comparison purposes wherever required. Now coming to the first change or improvement that you will see in Kadence Blocks 3.0, and that is the block controls are now more organized. Now to see this change, let's add a new post basically in both Kadence Blocks 2.0 and 3.0. Let's just move this thing here and here. So let's start off with Kadence Blocks 2.0 first, where the block controls were kind of like default that you see in the WordPress native blocks, right? So for that, what I am going to do is I am going to add a advanced button right here, and you can see all of these settings are on the right, basically on this sidebar where you generally find all the settings, and they are one after the other. Okay, so you can see the button count is right here, the button settings are right here. You can click it, it will show you all the settings, right? And then the font family is right here, again contains all of the settings, then the container margin and the advanced settings, right? So these are all the settings. They are all under one straight line. You can see one after the other. You just have to click one tab and it will show you all these settings, right? Now this has changed in Kadence Blocks 3.0, and let's just add this thing here. Again, the advanced buttons, and you can see now this has been divided into, basically the controls have been split into three basic categories, which are the general, where you will find the button link, the styles, kind of like the styles if you want to inherit from your global styles, the button size and the button width. The next one is the styles, where you can change the color, type, background color, border, radius and box shadow, and icon settings as well, right? So these are all the settings. Then you have the typography. So all the style settings are under the style tab, which is here, and the next comes the advanced settings, where you have the padding and the margin control, block defaults and the advanced. So this makes the block controls look more organized, although you are used to this thing. So we can argue that okay, we were comfortable working with this, hence this is more organized, but this is a better organized structure. You will in the coming days, basically you will see this in WordPress as well, because in our video on WordPress 6.2 I discussed this thing, where in WordPress 6.2 beta they have basically added, basically have split the block controls in several blocks. So slowly and steadily that change will be rolled out to other blocks as well. This is the more organized way of doing things, and that is what Kadence is doing here. So again, basically this makes finding the settings more easier. Earlier, you I personally have skipped a few settings, and my friends used to tell me, "Oh, did you try this?" And I was like, I didn't know this feature even existed. And then they were like, "No, you will find it under this tab," because it's very difficult to explore all of these settings if they are one after the other, because you will eventually get confused, right? And there is no chance that you are not going to get confused until and unless you have used that particular setting over and over again. Then right, you are using it again and again, and then it clicks right in that yes, this is the setting that we are talking about, and it is right here. So to remove all of these confusions, the block controls have been split in Cadence Blocks 3.0. And you will now find all of the block settings under these three heads, basically these three categories, you can say: general, style, and advanced. General has the general settings for the block that you have added. Then comes the style settings, and then you have the advanced. So this is basically the first change or improvement that you will see in Cadence Blocks 3.0. Now, after the block settings, the next topic that we are going to discuss is the introduction of new border controls in Cadence Blocks 3.0. Now, to show you this change, what I have done is I have added the sections block, which is this one, in Cadence Blocks 3.0, which is this setup right here, you can see. And I have done exactly the same thing in Cadence Blocks 3.2 as well. So I've selected the sections block here, right? Now, when it comes to border styles or border settings or border controls as well, let's just click this. And in Cadence Blocks 2.0, you can see the border control, the border color is right here. You can select a border color. I can add it, right? Then I can change the width as well. So you can see I am changing the width. I can unlink it and then make the right and left 10. Right? But you've noticed one thing: I cannot change the color of each of these sides, right? I cannot customize each and every side or direction of the border, right? You can see I cannot change the color. If I want to change the color of the left to, let's just say, red, I cannot do that. If I want to add a dotted styling, I cannot do that. Okay, so this has changed in Cadence Blocks 3.0, and now you will be able to do this. So here you can see I've selected this section. What I'm going to do is I am going to go to styles, and let's head over to border styles right here. You can see the border is right here. The border setting is right here. You can see, first of all, the UI has completely changed, right? Now I can unlink it, and you can see I can add a 10 pixel here and select dashed and select some color here, right? Red. You can see how it changes here as well. And then I can select a blue here, and I can select this one and add 20, right? Again, I'm going to select the same blue here so that we know what's going on, and add a 20 here. The next thing is, let's just add a red here as well, and changed it to something like this, and add a 10 here. So you can see how easily I was able to customize each direction or each side of the border using these controls, right? So these are basically the new controls. These controls are very, very visual. You can see all of the changes you can see in the controls, so you can see in the editor as well, while this was missing here. And now it is important to know these border controls were introduced in WordPress 6.1. So it is amazing of Kadence to use these components or use these updates in the latest version of Kadence Blocks. This is a huge change. So give this feature a try. Let me know how it goes for you. Again, another interesting thing is you can basically customize it according to these breakpoints as well, or different screen sizes. So you can select these here as well. Now these controls are exactly the same as the border controls that you see in the native WordPress columns block as well. So that gives you a familiarity with WordPress basically. So if a plugin, if you are using a block plugin and that has different settings to what comes in the native WordPress blocks, then at times that causes a bit of confusion, right, if you're just starting out. But here the familiarity is maintained, right? So you are familiar, you will get easily familiar with these controls, because you will find the exact same controls in some of the WordPress native blocks as well. So give this feature a try again, let me know how you feel about these. Now, after the new border controls, the next topic that we are going to discuss is the changes to the gradient controls in Kadence Blocks 3.0. And to show you this change, what I have done is I have added the advanced button block in both Kadence 3.0, which is this one, and in Kadence 2.0, which is this one. Right now, for the gradient controls, what I can do is I can select this button block, go under the button block settings basically, and here under the color settings you will see the background type. Solid is selected by default, you will have to select gradient. Then it will allow you to select color one, you can select it. I'll select a red here, and then I can select a color 2, which I will select a blue here. Now the next thing is the location, so you can select what color do you want more, do you want red or blue. Then you can select a gradient type, you can change the angle from right here if you have selected radially, if you have selected linear basically, if you have selected radial, then you can select the position, right? So these gradient controls are pretty easy to use, but these controls are very different from the gradient controls that come in the default or that come in the basically not the default, the native WordPress blocks, right? We were talking about the differences of settings a minute ago while we were discussing the border controls, that it can cause a bit of confusion if you have different settings in the blocks plugin that you are using and in the native WordPress blocks. So to bridge that gap, what Kadence has done is it has updated its gradient controls to the gradient controls that you see in the native WordPress blocks. Now to see this change, let's head over to Kadence Blocks 3.0. So you have the button block right here, so let's just select this button, go under style, and here you can see the gradient control, right? Pretty similar, pretty simple, right? So you can select the type as gradient, and you can see this gradient control is pretty similar to the gradient control that you get in the native WordPress block. So there is a paragraph block right here, and let's just click this, and you can see, right, very similar and very similar, right? So in order to make changes now, in case you want to select basically two different colors, so what you will have to do is you will have to click here and it will open the color picker. Right now you can select a color, picking the second color, select this one, you can choose, or you can move it right like this and select another color. Then you can change the type, linear and radial, you can select right here. Shape comes when you select the radial, right? Then you can basically change the position as well. Then comes the linear, and you can set an angle right here using this, or you can type in here as well. So that is up to you. Now you can see these controls are very similar to what you see here. So again, under the background, you can see these colors are these controls are very similar to what you get. So if I select radial here, you get this, and so are the changes here, right? So just to bridge that gap, the gradient controls UI has been changed in Kadence Blocks 3.0. This will make you more familiar with the settings that you find in the blocks that come with that basically come in the Kadence Blocks plugin. So that is the basic purpose of introducing this change. Okay, so again, give it a try. In case you have any queries, feel free to comment down below. Now, after the gradients, the next topic that we are going to discuss is the changes or improvements to the typography settings or controls in Kadence Blocks 3.0. Now, if you have been following this video till now, then you must be familiar with the fact that quite a few settings have been reorganized and the UIs have been completely revamped, and that is what has been done to the typography controls or typography settings in Kadence Blocks 3.0 as well. Now to show you this change, what I have done is, again, I have the advanced button blocks in both Kadence Blocks 3.0, which is this, and Kadence Blocks 2.0, which is this. Now for the typography settings, what I'm going to do is I'm going to select this block right here, and then go to the button settings right here, and you can see the font size control is here, but the font family control is here. It is far away from the related settings, right? And it can be really confusing. If you are wanting to make changes, then you do not know where the font family settings are, basically, right? Because there are quite a lot of button settings, and then you come across one single column. Basically you come across one single setting that changes the font size, but other font settings are under the head font family. That causes a lot of confusion again, right? So you can see the letter spacing is right here, text transform, which is now the new letter case, the font family, the font weight settings are right here. Now these controls have been revamped in Kadence Blocks 3.0. So let's head over to Kadence Blocks 3.0, select this block right here, this one, styles, and you can see the typography settings are here. The font size controls are something like this, right? They have variables. We'll talk about variables later in this video, but for right now, in case you want to add custom font sizes, then you can select this. In case you can click this icon, you can add the values, select the size units from here. In case not, then you can select from these variables, or for right now you can call them as the defaults that come with the Kadence blocks. Okay, so these are some of the default values that Kadence block has for you. So this is small, medium, large, XL, 2XL, 3XL, right? Then is the line height setting, which is right here, and then is the letter case. Okay, this letter case is same as the text transform. Okay, but you can see line height is a new feature, is a new setting that has been introduced. Again, you can change it responsively. You can change it according to the screen sizes. This is the menu that you will have to click, right? Font size is again something that you will be able to change using change for different screen sizes. So you can select any of the screen sizes and then set values accordingly. Then comes the font family, font weight, and letter spacing. Now this looks more organized when compared with this one, right? So you can see here, because when one setting is at one place and the other bunch of settings that are under the correct head are in a different place, and that is towards the bottom, it gets really difficult to find the settings. That has been the gist of this update, where they have tried to reorganize everything so that it is easier for users to basically find settings and use these blocks. So that is one thing that you will see. Again, the controls are somewhat like these are defaults that you can use, that these come with the button block itself, right? Then in case you want to use custom values, then you can use these custom values. You want to change line height, letter cases, just with a simple click you can change, right? The font family is right here, font weight is right here, and letter spacing is right here. Again, responsive menus are everywhere, so you can change these according to different screen sizes. You can set these according to different screen sizes, and again you can see the values right here. And if you want to see the font size, this is here. So this is basically the change for the typography controls in Kadence Blocks 3.0, where a new option, line height, has been added. Rest all of the settings have been revamped, and they have been clubbed together under the style settings, which is, you can see right here, when you will click the style tab, you will find them under the typography settings. All of the settings are under it, and now from one place you will be able to make changes to these, which will make your life much more easier when using these blocks or using these controls. Now, after the typography settings, the next topic that we are going to discuss is the introduction of inner blocks in Kadence Blocks 3.0. Now, if you have been using WordPress, then you must have noticed that few of the native WordPress blocks, such as the list block and the code block, has inner blocks as well, and those have been introduced in WordPress 6.1. Okay, so WordPress has been leveraging the power of the inner blocks, where you can customize the blocks easily, right? You can customize various parts of it using the inner block structure. Now this has been introduced in the Kadence blocks as well, which is a huge change, and you will notice it in quite a few blocks. Now I have added all of these blocks in Kadence Blocks 3.0 right here. So let's just open the list view so you can see all of the blocks are right here, and in Kadence Blocks 2.0 for the comparison purposes. So first one is the advanced block. So let's just select this. You can see in Kadence Blocks 2.0, advanced block is a single block, has no inner block, but now it has a single button block as the inner block in Kadence Blocks 3.0, right? You can see advanced button block and the single button, but it only has the advanced button block here in Kadence Blocks 2.0. Moving on to the next block, which is the testimonial block. You can see testimonial blocks is a standalone block, is a single block, has no inner blocks, but now this has changed, and now testimonial block has a testimonial as a inner block. So you can see, right? Similarly, for the icon block is a standalone block in Kadence Blocks 2.0, is a single block, no inner block. In Kadence Blocks 3.0, it has single icon as a inner block, right? Similarly, for icon list block, it is again a single block. There are no inner blocks, and in Kadence Blocks 3.0, it has a list item block. So you can see, so it is leveraging the power of that list item, right? So you can see here. Now again, I'll leave a link to that video in the description box below. After you're done watching this video, you can watch that small clip that I have created for particularly for this reason only. So watch that after you're done watching this, and in case again you have any queries either related to that or this, feel free to comment. Now after the inner blocks, the next topic that we are going to discuss is the improvements to the row layout in Kadence Blocks 3.0. Now if you have been using the row block or the row layout block, then you must be familiar with the fact that on selecting 3 or 4 column layout option, it only gave you the option to select from the multi-column or the stacked layout. Now to show you this, what I have done here is I have added a row block here, right? So you can see this is the default state that it comes with. It allows you to select your layout, right? You can select from all of these, right? Similarly, what I have done is I have added the row layout block here as well. Now what I am going to do is I'm going to select this row layout, and I am going to increase the columns from 2 to 3. Now you see right here, either you can select these columns or this stacked layout. Similarly, if I increase the columns from 3 to 4, the same options, almost the similar options, only the number of columns have increased, right? Now this has changed in Kadence Blocks 3.0, and now you will get the option to choose from grid layouts as well. Now to show you this, let's head over to Kadence Blocks 3.0, select this layout, row layout block basically, and increase it from 2 to 3, and you can see you have the option to choose from the grid layout as well. So there are 2 grid layouts available as of now, right? You can see you can select this one and select this one. Now let's head over to 4, and you can see a proper grid layout is here, right? So this is the first change that you will see in the row layout block in Kadence Blocks 3.0. Now the next change that you will come across in the row layout block is the ability to move sections freely. Now before we discuss this change, there are 2 things that you will have to keep in mind. Now the first one is that there was no options before Kadence 3.0 to create a grid layout when it comes to 3 or 4 column layout, which we have just discussed, right? So you can see right here, if I will select this, you can see I can simply click this and I can create a 2 column grid. Now when it comes to this layout right here, if I will select this, you can see either the multi-column options are available or the stacked option is available. Now the next thing that you will have to keep in mind here is that when I will select this row layout and open the list view and open the row layout, you can see all of the sections comes locked by default. Now understand it this way, for a new user, block lock is a very confusing feature, because they wouldn't know what to do and why this block comes locked by default. Basically this icon would basically confuse them, right? And if I would try to unlock this, you can see the movement is blocked, and the basically the movement is blocked and the removal is blocked, right? Both of these actions are blocked, and only if I will unlock it, then you will be able to swap them easily. Then also in certain scenarios you wouldn't be able to align these colors or these sections according to your requirement. I hope you are getting the point. In case not, then comment down below and I will 100% try and help. But understand it this way: you were not you couldn't create a grid layout easily before Kadence Blocks 3.0, because first of all the option to create a 4-column grid wasn't available as easy as it is now. Second thing is that to create a 4-column or a 2-row 4-section grid, which I have created right here, to create this, what you had to do was you had to use multiple sections and row layouts. So for example, you can see section has a row layout which has another 2 sections which are again locked, right? You can see. Then section has another row layout, and you can see, right? This makes the creation process much more confusing, and you can end up making mistakes. For beginners, this is a tough job to navigate. Yes, you will get the hang of it, but you will have to use this feature again and again to get used to the working of the row layout block. Basically now this has changed in Kadence Blocks 3.0, and with the introduction of this new 2-column grid that we see right here. So this is what I have created using it. You can see the layout is a 2-column grid, and now I can swap these easily. So let me just select this. You can see how easy it is to move these sections. Now another thing that you will have to notice here is that the section doesn't come locked by default. So for example, if I add a new row layout and select a 4-column layout right here, you can see I can select a 2-column grid right here easily. That makes the first task much easier. Now when I will select a section right here, you can see it doesn't come locked by default, which is one less hassle to figure out for the new user. Now when it comes to the creation part, you can see, let's just open this, and you can see a row layout has 4 sections which are pretty easy to figure out. So you can see first is selected, second, third, fourth. This makes the understanding part much more easier, removes all of the confusion from the process of designing. Because if you are creating complex layouts using the row layout, then using multiple columns, multiple rows, multiple sections will make the task of figuring out things later difficult. So this is the change for you. Keep these things in mind, that now there is a new 2-column grid that you can create. The sections don't come locked by default. The layout is much more simplified basically to understand. So you can see the row simply has sections that are laid out in a grid, and all of this can be done just in one click. So this is an amazing change that you will see in the row layout block in Kadence Blocks 3.0. Now another change that will come across in Kadence Blocks 3.0 is for the custom CSS options in the row layout and section block. And in this, a new option basically known as edit in Modal has been added. Now when you will click this option, it will open the code editor in a new modal basically. So now you no longer have to add your code snippets in that small space. It is much more easier in the eyes because it is kind of like full screen, right? And now to show you this change, what we are going to do is we are going to head over to Kadence Blocks 2.0 first, select this row layout block right here, go down and find the custom CSS option, and you can see this is the space where you had to add the code snippet. basically the CSS snippet that you had to add, or the custom CSS, right, in between these columns or anywhere here, right? Now this has changed and a new option has been added. So let's just select this, head over to the advanced tab, and there is the custom CSS options. Now you can see this option, edit in modal, is the new option. When you will click this, it will open it in a new modal. Now this is much more easier on the eyes as compared to before, right? You can see right here, this is a very small space and this is kind of like a big space, kind of like full screen, right? So this is really easier on the eyes. Another good change that has been introduced in Kadence Blocks 3.0 for the row layout block and the sections block. So you will find it in both blocks, right? Now after the rows and sections block, the next topic that we are going to discuss is the introduction of a new feature known as visualization of paddings and margins in Kadence Blocks 3.0. Now this feature was basically introduced in WordPress 6.1 and now it has been added to Kadence Blocks 3.0. Now to show you this feature, what I've done is I have added advanced button block in both Kadence Blocks 3.0, which is this one, and Kadence Blocks 2.0, which is this one. Now to add the container margin, you will have to go here in container margin option, and when you will change it, you can see how the button basically behaves on adding margin, right? But it doesn't visualize you. Yes, the button is moving, but you do not know how the margin is being added all around it. Now this has changed, and now what we are going to do is, so we were adding margin here, so I'm going to select margin here and I'm going to link every option, and now you're going to see how it appears, right? You can exactly see how the margin is being applied to the button and how it is basically behaving. Yes, it is moving up and down, but you can also see the visualization of margin, how the margin is being applied. Similarly for padding, you can see the same feature. You can see how the button is behaving on adding padding and how the padding is being added to it. So this is the new feature that has been introduced in Kadence Blocks 3.0, and it is known as the visualization of padding and margin. Now if you have been following this video till now, then you must have noticed that Kadence Blocks 3.0 is all about making things easier for you, making the user experience simpler. The settings that we dread to use, they are trying to make them as easy to use as possible. And continuing on this tradition, a new feature that has been introduced in Kadence Blocks 3.0 is the variables. Now to show you this feature, what I have done here is I have added this advanced button block, which is right here, and you can see, let me just select the individual block. Right now, as you can see, I have the button size right here that says SM, MD, LG and XL. Now these might sound like t-shirt sizes or shirt sizes, but these are actually the predefined sizes or variables that have been added in that have been introduced basically in Kadence Blocks 3.0. and the thing about these is these are very simple to use, because you just have to click one button and you will see the button size change. You can see right now this option has been introduced in other settings as well, such as margins, paddings, font sizes, row and column gutter, and button size. You can see right now. It is important to know here that with these variables you can also set custom values as well. So for example, let's head over to settings right here, and you can go, let's head over to typography settings. You can see font sizes have all of the variables defined right here. Now what if I want to basically select a set a custom size? So what you can do here is you can click this icon right here and set the custom size. In case you want to change the size unit, then you can select from this menu right here, and you can do that as well depending on your requirement. Again, these variables are predefined values that you just have to select, and Kadence will take care of the rest. You do not have to do anything. So if you find a size that is suitable for you, so for example for the typography, let's go for mid, and you can see I find the typography to be the right fit, then why do I have to go and set a custom value or worry about a custom values, because at times when you start using custom values, it can get really messy real soon if you don't know what you are doing. So that is why these variables have been introduced. Give this feature a try. So I have been using these, and and these variables makes the job so much more easier. So this is basically the new variables that you will come across in Kadence Blocks 3.0. Now moving on from the variables, the next new feature that has been introduced in Kadence Blocks 3.0 is known as the typed text. Now this feature has been introduced in the advanced text block, and you can see it right in action. I have created this for you, this small demonstration for you, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to preview this, and then you can see the feature for yourself. So you can see right here the heading here says hello world, and you can see the world phrase keep getting, the word keeps getting typed out by other phrases, right? So for example, beautiful world and the amazing world. Now to see this feature in action, or to use this feature, what you will have to do is you will have to first add a advanced text block just like this. Okay, in the next step, what you will have to do is you will have to type in your heading or the phrase that you want to add. So for example, what we have done above is we have added hello world. So exactly same thing I'm going to do here as well. I'm going to type in hello world. Okay, in the next step, what I'm going to do is I am going to basically highlight this word here. I'm going to select it, then I'm going to click this drop down right here in the tools bar, right? And you can see the typed text is right here. So I'm going to click this. You can see right here it says the cursor. You can add a cursor, you can replace this cursor or remove it completely. I can put a exclamation point after this. Let's just put an exclamation point after this, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to click this additional strings tab right here, and I am going to type in my first phrase, which is the beautiful world. And then I'm going to click add string again, and I'm going to add amazing world. Now comes the speed settings that you can set from right here. You can set the delay, you can set the back delay, type speed, backspace speed, and that's it. In the next step, you do not have to do anything else. You just have to click right here. For example, this, and you can see it in action right here. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to click and save it as draft. I'm going to go here, I'm going to refresh it, and you can see the exclamation point is right here, right? In the first demonstration that I created, it has an underscore, but now it has an exclamation point. So this is basically the typed text feature for you in the advanced text block, and you can use this feature and create attention grabbing headlines. Basically, if you want if you have something where you want users to basically take users attention towards a section or a heading, then or something important, then you can use this feature. This is an amazing feature. Within a few clicks you can do this. Now after the typed text, the next feature or the next new feature that has been introduced in Kadence Blocks 3.0 is the block defaults, and using this feature you can basically set a new default state of a block. Now to show you this feature, what I have done is I have added 4 headings right here, and right on top of these what I am going to add a new table of contents. So this is a table of contents block by Kadence Block. This is basically available for free. So for those of you who are looking to add tables of content, you can use Kadence Blocks for that as well. So this is the default state of the block. You can see this is a bullet. Basically the default styling is bullets right here, and this is the heading. It comes underlined. There is no hover styling, nothing. It's pretty simple, pretty basic, right? So let's head over to styling right here, and let's change the container styles to, let's change its background to something like this, right? And let's add 2 pixels of border. that is black. So now you can see this block somewhat looks different than its a default state, but still let's just select it once again. And now what I'm going to do is I am going to close this, go to its list settings, and I am going to give a hover color of blue to it, or let's just give it a red so that it is visible, so something like this. And list, and I'm going to change the link list style to no underline right here. You understand what I did, right? So I removed the underline from here. So you can see now the default state has now changed to not default state. This is basically I've applied some customizations to this tables of content block right here. I haven't changed, I haven't set the default style to this. Now what I want to do is I want to set this style as the default style. So basically whenever I will add a tables of content, this is how it should appear, so that I do not have to go back again and again and make these customizations, right? So for this, there is a new feature that has been introduced, and that is the block defaults. Now to show you this, what I am going to do is, or basically to use this feature, what you will have to do is you will have to go to advanced right here, click this block defaults right here. You can see this tab right here, and it will show you this option save as default. Read this carefully. This will set the current block attributes as the default style for this block type, which means whenever from now onwards you will add the table of contents block, what it will do is it will carry these styles. You can make changes to these styles. Okay, so there is no problem in that. You can always make changes to it, but this will be the default state of the table of the tables of content block. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click save as default right here. It will give me this small pop-up, and I am going to click OK right here. Now what this means is now when I will add the tables of content block, it should appear like this. So that is the case, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down here and I'm going to add tables of content block right here, and you can see it is exactly the same as this one. You can see the hover state is there, you can see the borders is there, the background color is there. Now this is now this style will be available for all pages and all posts where you will be adding this this tables of content block. It will carry the same styles. Now you will be able to make changes. So for example, if I want to change the background to something else, let's go to container settings. You can see it is set to this. I want to change it to something darker, and you can see I can do that easily. Now there are two things I want you to know here. First things first, this basically setting or this feature is very different from reusable blocks and global settings. Okay, which means let's compare it with global settings. So any of the iterations of table of content block that you have used before will have no impact. This change will have no impact on them. So you will have to go back to those posts and basically add the table of contents again, then you will see the change. So that is for the global settings. Second is the reusable blocks. Now reusable blocks basically contain content that you want to reuse. This block contains no content but customizations. This is a change to the default state and nothing else, right? So this is very different from the global styles and the reusable blocks. So keep this in mind. This is a very, very useful feature that will improve your workflow. So basically use this feature where you have a block that you customize every time, and you want those exact customizations to be everywhere from now onwards where you want to use. So use this feature there. Okay, so this is basically the new block defaults feature that you will come across in Kadence Blocks 3.0. Again, in case you have any queries, feel free to comment down below. Now moving on from the block defaults, the next improvement that you will come across in Kadence Blocks 3.0 is for the icon picker. Now first things first, this change is not just for the icon picker in the icon block or the icon list block. This is across all blocks that that come with the icon picker basically. So this can be your button block as well, where you can basically add or select icons. So only the button block is right now coming to my mind, but there are other blocks that allow you to basically add icons, and you will find this change across all basically blocks that have a icon selector, or that allow you to choose an icon. Now to show you this change, what I have done here is I have added this icons block right here in Kadence Blocks 3.0 and in Kadence Blocks 2.0 as well. Now as far as the icon selector goes, this is the icon selector, and when I will click this option right here, you can see it has a pagination right here. You can search from icons right here, but in case you want to go to another page, or your icon is on the next page and you know about it, then you will have to click here, select this icon. If you want to browse, then you will have to go through each and every page one after the other. You will have to keep clicking, right? So you can see the icon selector is paginated before Kadence Blocks 3.0. Now this has changed, and when I will click this, let me select this icon right here, you can see icon settings, and this is the icon picker right here. When I will click this, you can see all of the icons are now available on the scroll. The pagination is gone. Basically they are now available on scroll. There is no pagination. So this is the change that you will come across. Again, you can see you can scroll through all the icons, but here you will have to go from page to page, right? So this is basically the change that you will come across in the icon picker in Kadence Blocks 3.0. Again, any block that allows you to select a icon will have this new icon picker in Kadence Blocks 3.0. Now after the icon selector, the next improvement that you will come across in Kadence Blocks 3.0 is for the copy and paste. Now copy and paste is a feature that has always existed in Kadence Blocks since I have been using it, but it is not a part of all of the blocks or all of the available blocks basically. Right now in Kadence Blocks 3.0, this feature has been added to almost all blocks. Now to show you this change, what I have done here is I've added the icon block and the advanced button block in both Kadence Blocks 3.0 and Kadence Blocks 2.0. You can see right here. Okay, so when I will select this, you can see the copy and paste icon is missing, or the setting is missing, or the option is missing from the toolbar. There is no option, and so is the same case in the advanced button blocks as well. And this has changed in Kadence Blocks 3.0, and you can see if I will click here, you can see the copy and paste styles option is right here, right? And so is the case with the buttons block as well. The copy and paste styles is right here. So this is basically the change where you will see the copy and paste styles option in almost all blocks. This feature has been added to almost all blocks, making your workflow much more easier. So basically this concludes everything that we had to discuss about Kadence Blocks 3.0. If you have any queries, feel free to comment down below. Now if you have found the tutorial helpful, then make sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the post notification bell. Now in case you want to buy anything from Kadence, then link to it is in the description box below. Again, it is an amazing plugin. I personally use it and recommend it to my friends and people who follow our channel and my blog. So that's it. Again, any queries, comment down below and I will try and help. Now I hope you have found this video helpful and are now familiar with the Kadence Blocks 3.0 update. Now if you did, then make sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel and turn on the post notification bell. Now in case you have any queries, feel free to comment down below and I will try and help. Also the links to our socials along with the article that we have done on Kadence Blocks 3.0, and in case you want to buy any of the Kadence products, then link to that is in the description box below as well. Feel free to follow us on other platforms as well. It helps out a lot. And with that said, thank you for watching and I will see you in the next video.